Hello and welcome Ravi Prasad. I'm Cherian and Ravi is a friend, an IITian and a Carnegie Melon research faculty person who was in USA during the advent of technology. We are talking about how technology impacts politics, society, economy, and people's lives. And Ravi, let's start with today's news, which is Facebook is being investigated by a parliamentary committee in India, which means that an online social media and its technology tentacles have become a political issue. How do you see this?
Well, essentially, the Facebook and all the social media, first they used what is called Web 2.0 technology and now Web 3.0 technology. They use a lot of algorithms to maximize the social media interaction and to maximize their advertising revenues, and also for boosting posts. Now, what has happened is that since 2014, in the 2014 Lok Sabha elections, the BJP made very good use of social media as well as messaging to propagate their values. And it has been emerging that the Facebook and Twitter have been major influencers in elections all over the world, especially in the USA and in India. Now, in India, of all the political parties, the BJP has set up a lead in using in 2012, 2013 itself, when they established a big IT cell, and they had thousands of professionals working on Facebook to propagate their message, as well as on WhatsApp. WhatsApp was a end-to-end encrypted messaging solution, which was acquired by Facebook, bought by Facebook. And on that, there are a lot of groups in which the BJP and its associated Hindutva organizations have been propagating the Hindutva philosophy.
Yes,
now,
let me just stop you here. Yes, we all know that. Now the issue is that the Wall Street Journal has reported that the policy, the Facebook regulators here refuse to stop certain posts which are supposed to be hate speech. That's the issue which has made MPs and that has made it political. So, do you think that such a control works over Facebook or any social media for that matter?
See, essentially, you have differences in laws and in community standards all over the world. In the USA, there is the Communications Decency Act of 1996, and Section 230 of that gives blanket immunity to these platforms like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube for content which is hosted on them, because most of the time it is not Facebook which is uploading content, it is the users and the subscribers that are uploading content. So the question is how far you can make the platform liable for content posted by its subscribers. And in India, you have Section 79 of the Information Technology Act and the detailed rules formulated by Section 79 of the Information Technology Act, under which if there is a complaint, then if they take down that content, the disputed content within 36 hours, or they expeditiously block access to that content within 36 hours, then you cannot hold the platform liable. That's why they're called intermediaries, because they're intermediate between a publisher. Like a publisher has absolute liability for anything that appears in a newspaper or a journal, even if written by a third party or even from an advertiser. Whereas a pure common carrier like a telephone company or an ISP cannot be held liable for what people speak over their pipes. the intermediaries like platforms like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube are intermediate between publishers and between common carriers. Publishers cannot be are absolutely liable for third-party content. Common carriers are absolutely immune from third-party content. Intermediaries have a limited liability. Uh, so the question, what Facebook has told the parliamentary committee yesterday on 2nd September is that it will not take down content on its own. It will, if there is a complaint, it will look at the complaints, and it has actually outsourced all this to third parties, fact checkers. Now the question is, what the parliamentary committee has said is that those third party fact checkers are themselves biased.
Okay.
So both the question is that the allegations are that Facebook is highly pro BJP because BJP is a huge advertiser on Facebook. Now the Facebook algorithms are geared towards engaging content and towards maximizing its revenue, the number of hits. So they boost the posts which are paid for, and they bring down the posts which are not paid for, and therefore there are allegations of bias.
So Ravi, you said that their algorithm is tuned to whoever pays them more. And
Yes.
the fact is that BJP officially spent 22 crores, that is 220 million rupees for last elections on social media.
Yes.
While the contender for power in India, Indian National Congress, spent less than 50 million rupees.
Yes.
Obviously, can anybody complain? Because Facebook has to listen to BJP because they have paid X amount of money, which is way ahead of their rivals. So how is it Facebook become liable in the process? Because they have to then show some leniency towards the client who pays them most.
Yeah, legally, legally, I think Facebook is still in the clear because it is not as if it is a legal monopoly. It's a de facto monopoly, but it is not a de jure monopoly. So it can have whatever biases it likes, like a newspaper or a journal can always have, legally speaking, any newspaper or a journal can have whatever biases it likes as long as it doesn't indulge in hate speech or defamation. Other than that, all speech is allowed, even if highly biased. It is just that the credibility of a newspaper or a magazine depends on its objectivity, but there is no bar on any newspaper or magazine being partisan. So similarly, Facebook is just like a platform. So, and there is no bar on anyone joining. There is no legal bar on anyone joining Facebook. Although in practice they are taking down several accounts and blocking several accounts on basis of their internal policies. Now, what came out very clearly in the parliamentary committee meeting is the conflict of laws between India and USA and Europe, where there are different laws in different jurisdictions, as well as in the community standards, which are not enforced uniformly. But the question is that Facebook is not under any legal obligation to provide a level playing field, because anybody else can also set up their own social platform. It is just that Facebook has such a huge subscriber base in India of 300 million,
Okay.
and worldwide of so many billion. But you have to remember that there are several other social media platforms. Facebook was not the first social media platform. There were numerous social media platforms before Facebook, such as High Five or MySpace or several of those, but they all died out.
So that comes to the related question. 300 million people are Facebookers in India.
Yes.
So there was this controversy about, so we all have to log in our personal IDs, maybe phone numbers,
Yes.
emails, some of the preferences, So there was this complaint against Cambridge Analytica saying that they are
Yes.
buying all the profiles from Facebook to psychometrically, or politically analyze and target people.
Yes.
So do you think that will come into our all of our personal spaces and will create problems for Facebook and all of us too?
Well, certainly, the only thing, this is what all social media companies do, and that is how they earn their money, by monetizing all the data that they're collecting about you, and using data mining, big data analytics, machine learning, deep learning. They are able to build up very, very detailed profiles of each individual in the world. And in fact, there are something like about 15 or 20,000 parameters against which each individual is graded. So they know everything about your tastes, your opinions, your preferences, and they know how you can be influenced. In fact, one of the things about TikTok, to just divert from Facebook to TikTok, is the reason TikTok became such a big success is because they have some of the best machine learning algorithms in the world, that they can predict your likes, your subconscious likes, which even you may not be aware of. And they're able to show you content which they think you will like, and it turns out that you will like it. So many times they're able to know more about you than you know about yourself.
Yes.
That is because they profile you against a huge database. So
Okay.
things like Facebook has the best facial recognition algorithms, because every time you tag yourself in a photo, and you tag yourself where you play the games, or what you look like 20 years ago, you are training them facial learning algorithms. So what happens is that this huge amount of data that you have about you can be used, monetized, and used in such a way to feed you very targeted advertising, whether for products or services or for political purposes. So, for instance, they can build a very detailed profile of a person, and let us say the BJP can now use these kinds of psychological profiling of each individual to micro target which aspects of their political campaign will appeal to a person. For instance, one person may be bothered only about the Chinese doklam, and they say, if you support the ruling party which is strong on China, therefore you vote for us because we are strong on Pakistan. Another voter, they will say, this person doesn't care about the economic situation, he cares only about the Hindutva policy or the anti-Muslim policy. So let us highlight that aspect of our propaganda to him. A third person might care only about the anti-Nehru aspect of it. He may just be an anti-Nehru or Gandhi family dynasty, and they say, all right, we can target that aspect of it. So what they can do is they can micromanage their very detailed micromanage a targeted political campaign for each person because they already know what his biases are like.
Ravi,
yeah.
In short, they are not manipulating you out of your beliefs or out of your taste. They are only enhancing your beliefs or adding to your taste. Can someone say that?
Yes, absolutely. What is happening is that there is an echo chamber. In the problem is there are what are called the echo chambers, where they're showing you content which is more and more to your liking, and you're not exposed to other points of view.
Yes.
That is what the bias in these algorithms are, is that they're polarizing society. They're polarizing between left wing and right wing, between Hindus and Muslims, between Congress and BJP, is that because they keep showing you content which reinforce your existing beliefs, those strengthen your beliefs, and you think more and more, each individual person thinks that he is right and everybody who doesn't agree with him is wrong. So
Okay.
psychologically, this is what is happening, is that it is resulting in echo chambers and a complete splitting of political views from extreme left to extreme right. There is no space for dialogue in the middle. But
Okay.
there is, it's not as if there is any legal bar on dialogue in the middle. It
Yeah.
is just that their algorithms just keep showing you more and more of what you already think.
Okay.
And so since you're not exposed to other points of view, you're blind and deaf to the fact that there are other points of view.
So in a way, it's not doing a negative thing. It's only that if somebody wants to take an independent view of things, it will be very difficult for him if you are heavily into social media, because you are constantly fed with what you want to see,
Yeah,
and you don't see
absolutely.
the other point at all.
Yes, absolutely. So it leads to extreme polarization of views. But this is the way their algorithms are, because their algorithms want you to click more and more, generate traffic from you. They want you to click more and more, to engage more and more, to share more and more posts, to comment on more posts, to like more posts. So that is how their algorithms are built on the reinforcement model.
Okay.
And that is because they get their revenue from advertising on the number of clicks and the length of the engagement.
Okay.
So therefore, they're already polarized. They are leading to a polarization, in that they keep feeding you more and more of what you like.
Okay.
And the result is, it is not intentional, but there is what is called the AI bias, what artificial intelligence and machine learning experts call the AI bias or AI ethics, in
So,
that you are
so
being fed.
how do you fit this process in a democratic process? Democratic country, because democracy is all about people arguing out and winning a point. Here, you are constantly bombarded with what you want to see, and they are constantly reinforcing the biases and not allowing people to look up in passionate view about politics, society, or even, let's say, communal issues.
See, it is going to be very difficult to counter this on a legal sense, because there is no legal bar. I mean, it is just that I can go to some other social platform, or I can search for content which doesn't agree with me, and do that. The question is the advertising model, in that the heavy advertisers posts are boosted on payment, and the people who don't advertise, their posts are in the ordinary queue, and typically speaking, only about 5% of your posts are shown to about 10% of your friends. So if you have, let us say, 1,000 friends, any particular post of yours is seen by only about 20 to 50 of them.
Yes.
So that is how the filtering occurs, because Facebook wants you to pay to have your posts move up in the queue. Otherwise, for any post of yours, only about 5 to 10% of your friends will see any particular post of yours in their news feed.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
by putting the
Come to the democratic aspect of it, because
yeah.
democracy is all about getting all the information and analyzing it for a good decision. So will this process of reinforcing what you already got, like
Yes.
if I am a BJP supporter, I've been constantly told that you are in the right, you are okay, you are okay. So I never want to get out of this, because I've been told all the time that you are okay.
Yes, absolutely. You're
So
100% correct.
how democratic is it? Is it going to be a anti-democratic platform then, that way?
Well, in practice, yes, but that is how their algorithms work. But the question is that they are not under any legal obligation as a platform to be neutral, because there is no, but somebody else can start any other platform and post on that. It is it is just that might is right or money power is working. The
Okay.
question is whether they're legally using abuse of a gatekeeper status.
Okay.
For instance, now what is happening is that most of the newspapers, people are getting most of the news from Twitter and Facebook, rather than actually going to the websites of their newspapers.
Yes.
So by boosting certain posts, they are showing you more of news content. Let us say uh, the various newspapers you subscribe to. Most of the time, you subscribe to their Facebook pages and get their news from on your Facebook news feed or your Twitter news feed,
Okay.
rather than, let us say, logging onto the websites of Hindustan Times or Times of India or Indian Express.
Yeah.
So this is the way they are influencing people by boosting the certain newspapers, and in fact, the media is actually arguing with Facebook and other social media platforms about a revenue share, that how much these papers should pay, should Facebook should share some of their revenue with these newspapers and journals.
Yeah, that is
As
already
has happened in Australia.
Australia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, you said an important thing which is relevant to India, which is that the third party, people who watch these postings and all,
Yes,
they can also be biased. That is what is being argued in Facebook as far as
yes,
BJP is concerned now. That one of the regulator was pro BJP and
yes.
they push that agenda than any other agenda. So it can also be a personal agenda plus also a corporate agenda, because BJP was obviously the biggest advertiser or biggest
Yes,
revenue
absolutely.
stream.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. They can be biased, but the question is, and they are being biased because they'll go by whatever their advertisers do, because they have to maximize the number of clicks, the number of eyeballs, the number of click throughs is what they want to maximize,
Yeah.
and the engagement on the site and the number of videos you watch and the amount of sponsored content which you watch.
Okay.
The advertisers' videos and advertisers' posts which you watch. So that is the allegation. Now the question is the legal obligations to take down hate speech and speech that is violative of various content, and that is where they are coming up with a lot of flaws. Because first is their algorithms to identify hate speech are not perfect, and what they really told the parliamentary committee is that they will not take down any content unless there are on their suo motu, they won't take down any content. They will take down content only if there are a lot of complaints about a particular content.
Yeah.
And even here, the bias is that they did not take down a lot of the hate speech done by people and by organizations close to the BJP, which called for genocide and which called for the elimination of Muslims, as certain BJP legislators had made such posts.
Okay.
But as of today, they have blocked that particular BJP legislator who called for the killing of Muslims. They have blocked his Facebook and Instagram accounts. But what came through very clearly yesterday is that you have the conflicts in USA where courts have upheld the Communications Decency Act Section 230C, which gives them absolute immunity for what their subscribers post.
Okay.
And their only obligation is if there is a complaint and it is very obviously hate speech, then they are obliged to take it down.
So in short, it's all about political, hullabaloo, nothing legal, nothing more is going to happen to Facebook.
I don't think so, because they will do whatever their advertisers tell them to do, and certainly they are biased. But for instance, a newspaper can write anything biased against anyone, as long as it is not defamatory and as long as it is not incitement to violence.
Yes.
For instance, the newspaper is under no legal obligation to be objective or neutral.
Okay.
You have party newspapers all the time, party journals all the time. So similarly, Facebook is only a platform.
Yes.
And
Yes.
therefore, yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a big
Let's
difference
end
between
this
legality
episode
and
on that.
actual practice.
Yes. Let's end it on this, that Facebook, after all, is a platform which
Yes.
hosts everybody. It's up to others who are bothered about certain hate speech and others to complain and get
Yes.
it remedied. And there is no point in making big noise about it unless we ourselves are vigilant about it.
Yeah,
Isn't
see,
it?
because I mean, there is no bar to entry that you can set up your own, you can set up your own social media
Social media.
network.
Yes.
It is just that you won't get the number of subscribers that Facebook
Yes.
has. The
Yes.
question is Facebook using its market share, its huge market share to thwart competition? So far, we don't see that happening because there are other social media networks. But they can't get enough traction because the utility of a social media platform is exponential with the number of subscribers it has. The reason people are on Facebook is because all your friends are on Facebook, and that is how you communicate.
Yes.
So it is basically the medium of preference, and there certainly are a lot of biases, but you cannot legally hold it liable for bias. What you can do is that if there is something that is blatantly hate speech, calling for killing of someone or calling for genocide, those kinds of posts can be taken down and the people blocked.
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you, Ravi.
Yeah.
Short,
Yeah,
Facebook is
sure.
a platform, and the users have to be vigilant about what they want to, what they do on the Facebook, and
Yeah.
try as in a democracy, try and be vigilant and try and alert people, others about the untoward things happening on the platform.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all for the day, and thank you,
Yeah.
Ravi.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Sure. See you.